Something memorable was probably my first catwalk collection with Alexander McQueen, and I saw the work that I helped create go down the catwalk, and it got great reviews, and it was a team effort. It's like, you know, the whole team, the whole design team at McQueen, from the print designers to the other textile designers and everyone involved in it, but you're part of that experience, and that was one of my proudest moments there. And then from that, creating pieces that were at the Met Gala, and having my handwriting, and I could see that was my work. That was, those have been really proud moments. My name's Jessica Stewart, and I am a textile designer. I started my career, I went to study textiles at school, specialised in textiles at university. Then my first job out of university was working at Alexander McQueen as a trainee embroidery designer. Then I started working at Drake's as a printed textile designer, and I'm about to start as an embroidery designer for Burberry. So I learned about it at school. We studied textiles, and we had some amazing teachers who taught us loads about the subject, and from them I learned that you could do textiles as a degree. And so different, London College of Art, Loughborough University, Winchester, all these different universities specialise in textiles. And then also that these jobs have come out of it. So some people might do textiles and become a ceramist, or some people become fine art painters, some people become fashion designers or interior designers. And so you do your degree, yes, and you might do textiles, but it doesn't mean it's just a textile designer. There are lots of different pathways in what you could do. So I'd say, good teachers was how I found about the role originally, the job opportunities. When I was at university, we did textiles in general and went through 3 different specialisms first year, which is multimedia, print and weave. And then we chose to specialise in one area of those 3, so I chose printed textiles. And from doing printed textiles, which is really loads of drawing and loads of painting, which I loved, that really honed my skills, which then therefore led me to screen printing and learn about the other specialisms, but concentrating on one path. And then when I graduated, I became an embroidery designer, which is nothing I specialised in, but it was because of my drawing skills and my research skills and the things that I'd learned in that one pathway that meant I actually could do that role, which I thought before an embroidery designer would have to be able to do beading and have to know how to do certain sorts of stitching, and which I cannot do. So it shows that just because you specialise in maybe one area of a subject, there's a lot of freedom within that whole role. And also, just because you might study, for example, I specialise in printed textiles, I've gone into embroidery. A lot of people have gone on to do, from my course, visual merchandising and become buyers. So they've become something to do maybe with their role, but not specifically the drawing or the hand-rendered side that I have. There's lots of different pathways. So when I graduated from Loughborough, I went to New Designers, and it's where all the universities show their graduates and do a big exhibition for 3 days in London. And then after that I went to Texprint, and Texprint showcases 24 graduates from the UK that are selected after a number of interviews. So I was one of those 24, and I exhibited in London at Chelsea College of Art, and the exhibition brought in a load of industry specialists. So my previous manager at Alexander McQueen, some members from Burberry, Marks and Spencer's, Next, like lots of different places came to view the exhibition, interview a lot of the people there, and also just give advice. And from that then I also exhibited in Paris at Premiere Vision. So I was there for 3 days, and I sold a lot of designs there, again made contacts, and after that went to work at Alexander McQueen. I worked for Debenhams as a shop assistant, and I worked within the women's wear area on the ground floor, worked on the tills and customer service. I also worked as a waitress in a restaurant, and I worked on the floor and worked behind the bar. And I think in both of those jobs I learned key skills in communication, customer relations, also my confidence to work with the people and talk to strangers, and my presentation skills, which absolutely transferred into my jobs today. So a typical day as an embroidery designer could be starting day researching. This could be through media and through the internet, like Pinterest, any archives we have online in the system, visiting a library, going to exhibitions. And then maybe this research would then be transferred into secondary research, filtering all of it out, going through everything. And then from this, starting to design for a collection. For example, if we were doing florals and I've been researching different types of blooms and flowers all day and gardens, I may start drawing different type of flowers or roses, and from this have an idea that could be transferred into a garment design. So from initial research through to final design, it would be implement that research, as I said, to the drawing and the painting, and maybe creating a load of rough draft ideas, finding one out of maybe 20 that gets selected, and then working on that more and more and more. When the initial design gets selected, making sure that's perfect, and then using that design and putting it to a pattern, so a pattern piece, and then having that pattern piece ready for then the collection to be sewn in Italy or in India perhaps. So it goes through initial research, then to drawing and rough sketching, then to final design and painting, then making sure the drawing and the painting matches the pattern design, and then making sure all the dots match together and that it's ready and it fits in the collection. You could do an amazing piece of work and it might not look right, therefore it's dropped. And you could do a piece of work you think is okay, but they think it's great, it's perfect, let's move on. So yeah, a lot of learning in the job. I think I find the thing most satisfying is seeing something that I've worked on for so long and become so emotionally connected to become a final product, and you see it on someone or on the runway and in the media, and you see the piece of work that you've been a part of its journey become something that's outside of you. And yeah, that's a big achievement, a really big achievement. I feel like I've done something well. The most challenging is learning that nothing is perfect. That I could have, for example, done something that I think is amazing, or I'm really, really proud of, and I think that's got some real potential, and then someone says it's not right, drop it. And I could have spent months or days, weeks, whatever, working on something, and it's learning not to be too emotionally involved. And if you are emotionally involved, then you have to learn to manage those feelings because you're doing a job. So yeah, learning how to manage my personal emotions is really hard. Useful, so I'd say to have a really good eye for colour and for research. I think for my particular role, hand drawing and hand painting are key. If you have Photoshop skills and graphic skills, those are really useful because I use them every day. Skills in Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, they're really, really, really key, and I think most people expect you to kind of have a basic knowledge now of them. Communication skills, like what I learnt again from being a waitress and working in Debenhams on the shop floor, they were brilliant because they made me have more confidence in myself and that I could talk to people, whereas I think if you don't communicate your ideas in a design and creative role, it's very difficult for people to understand what you want or what you're trying to do. We got a basic understanding at university. In my first year, we had a run through of Illustrator and Photoshop, and you could take extra classes if you wanted to, but I would say a lot of it, I watched YouTube videos and anything, online tools and any books and PDFs that I could read to practice myself. That was how I really learned, because I think you can learn through the odd class at uni, which anyone will do in any subject, but it's when you go home and you practice those skills and you research a bit more and play around and fail a bit, and then you'll do some good work. But it is practicing in your own spare time, which is, like I said, YouTube all the time. For my role at McQueen, when I first graduated, it was for a graduate position. So I'd say for that role, yes, but not every single role. I went to uni knowing that I wanted to do textile design, but not knowing exactly what area. And I wasn't ready to start working yet, so I needed to learn a lot more. So for me, that's why university was a great idea. And from that, I took a year out in between and did placements for 1 year and did unpaid internships and worked for 3 different houses. And that also helped me learn more about the industry. And so from having a good degree, but also having this wealth of experience for a year's working, that's really what helped me get a job. And I find that if I didn't have that year of experience, I would have way less of an opportunity to get a job as a graduate. Whereas now, when degrees are so expensive and a degree like textiles is so creative and hands-on, I do feel like if you can get the opportunity, and uni's not for everyone, if you get the opportunity to do maybe a year or 2 years, getting internships and lots of different small roles under your belt with different design houses, whether it's unpaid work or paid, is just as valuable now as a degree, in my opinion. My degree taught me so much and I learnt a wealth of skills there, but it isn't for everyone. So I don't think that's the only pathway you have to go down. And now, when I go to a lot of jobs, they do want to know because I've put it on my CV, where I've graduated from, and my qualifications, but it's mainly the questions I get is about where I've worked and what I've learned and why I'd be great for that job because of the skills that I've learned so far. So I think both are very, very valid pathways, but it doesn't mean the singular one is the best. I'd say don't give up. If it was at the very start of my first job, I would say don't give up, just keep going. Always be polite, always be well-mannered to people, because people do remember if you said please and thank you. It makes a big difference. Always treat others as you mean to be treated in the industry, because I find that I remember people by the way they've acted towards me and the way they presented their work. So presentation is a key thing as well, key skill. The way you present yourself and your mannerisms, but also the way you present your work to other people. So I'd say as well, I'd say to myself, enjoy it. Just enjoy every moment of it, because as you go in your career, you learn so much, and each experience is so different. So just enjoy every moment, especially in the beginning when you're working your way up. Enjoy it. So you could start as a trainee, then go up to a design assistant, then it would be assistant designer, then designer, then senior designer, then head of design, and then you either might move or you could become director, creative director. There's a lot of pathways above you, but it also depends on the scale of the company. If you've got a big, large corporate company, there's a lot of levels. If you've got a smaller company, you might move a lot quicker. So yeah, it depends on the opportunities you've got. Yeah, so you could work for yourself as a textile designer freelancing. So working multiple channels for different businesses, having multiple incomes. And the benefit of that is you have lots of different projects that are very interesting and keep you going. The downside of working freelance sometimes is that it can be quite isolating. You have to be very self-motivated, have to also not just expect the work to come to you, you have to find the work. You could also have your own design business and your own personal creative hob. And that could be from a fashion designer, interior designer, whatever it is. But again, it's hard work. And maybe a lot of people, I think a lot of them start out as freelance designers and find that work and travel a lot, because you get a lot of travel and benefits with these companies and freedom and flexibility. But it's not the same as having, again, on the flip side, you don't have the bonus scheme, you don't have the pension scheme, you have to do all those things yourself, which if you are highly motivated and if you are great at finding work, then it's brilliant, and you could become one of the people that XYZ companies want to contact. And equally, you could have your own business and be completely in demand because you've got such a niche idea and a way of working and a style. So I think it's just something people will have to find as they go along their journey as a designer. I think I was happy and friendly and a bubbly person, probably a bit weird, probably a bit annoying at times, but yeah, I had a great group of friends, and I love school, so yeah, I was very lucky. Yeah, so I think I was quite a happy person. Yeah, always creative, wasn't really a fan of maths or sciences, but loved languages and arts and English, and anything that was slightly creative I loved, absolutely. Interact with lots of different levels of people, so yes, similar designers to me, my peers, could be more senior designers than me, could be someone from sales, or could be the receptionist as you walk in. I think it's key to try and talk to as many different people in your work environment as you can, because you might learn lots of different things from them. Maybe that you'll learn that in sales something's doing really well, something isn't. You might learn from the receptionist that she had a really bad day and you can cheer her up. You might learn from the intern, because I was an intern and I loved when people treated me as equals rather than above them. So I'd say as well, the idea of talking to everyone, from someone who's just starting their career to someone who is at the top of their career, approach them all in the same way, which is, I think, as you would like to be treated, with respect, of course. Where I've worked, my previous jobs and my current job are all based in London. So I'll do most designing and day-to-day experiences there, but I do get to travel. I've been to Paris and I've been to Italy. So I think, yeah, I've spent some time abroad as well. If you're lucky enough to do it with your job, definitely take the advantage of it, because it's no brainer. And also, I think as well, going back to the freelancing one, people can freelance from home, and they might have a job that's based in London, but they can freelance from home or from anywhere. You take your computer anywhere these days, so that's another good thing about the freelancing job. I think anyone going to any career should just be so inquisitive and ask questions to everyone. Like, if you've got friends and family, ask what they do, how they got into it, what skills they needed. I would just say research, whatever industry you want to go into. And also the industries that you're not even that interested either, because you could find something that you didn't realise you thought was, oh, that sounds really interesting, I actually quite like that. So I think I'm the question master, and I'm so inquisitive. Then I learn from that, and I learn about individuals. And also, I think it's also nice to know about just anyone you ask questions to about their passions and their hobbies, because I think that's a really good one to know, like what people do in their spare time outside of work to relax and chill, and people in that industry as well that you're going into. Because yeah, I'd say networking is one of the biggest things you can do in any job. If I hadn't become a designer, I would have been, I think, a nutritionist or something to do with food, because I am food obsessed. And I wake up thinking about food and go to bed thinking about food. So I think something to do with some kind of healthy eating, because everyone knows I love my healthy foods, would be good for me. Yeah.